Hey guys, I'm Greg
And I'm Eva,
and we are Destination Collective.
and today we're gonna tell you about our top tips on how to stay creative.
So my first tip on how you can stay creative is to take time off, take a break. I think it's really important to, yes, we all like to work hard and be as productive as we can, but it's essential that we do allow ourselves time to rest. For example, often I will spend days, weeks editing videos, and I'll find I'll get myself into a nice creative flow and I'll be able to work on it for hours and hours. But then I can sometimes hit this creative rut and just get stuck. And then I'll try and force my way through the edit. And that's not a sensible thing to do because you just end up getting a mediocre cut. So instead of trying to work your way through, just take a break. Maybe it's just an hour, a couple of hours, or maybe you want to leave your project for a couple of days. Obviously it depends on the timeline of your project, but quite often if I'm editing something and I hit a wall, I'll just leave it a couple of days, come back to it, and I'll find this new sense of purpose with that project, just because I've given myself some time off and my mind has come up with other ideas in the meantime.
Another tip, make notes. You never know when that one amazing idea comes to your brain. Make sure that you always have something where you can write your thoughts down. I personally am a massive fan of notebooks. I own the whole collection of them, and every time there is some sort of thought, I make sure that I just write it down, because these really valuable thoughts, they come as quick as they go into our heads, so you don't really want to lose it, because once it's gone, it's gone. And also make sure that once you start writing down, try to make it as detailed as possible, because I used to write down just little phrases, just like 2 words, just this little, thing that just came into my head, and then I look at it next day and I was like, huh? What did I mean? It doesn't make sense to me at all. So yeah, just don't get distracted, write it down as detailed as you can, so whenever you look at it in a week, a day, a month, a year, whatever that is, you still can feel like, oh, I know what I was thinking about back then, and you can bring this idea back into real world and go out there and make it happen.
So my next tip is to declutter your workspace. For example, I know that myself, I get stressed out when I'm working in a messy environment, so I take the time to, put things away, recycle papers if I don't need them. I have a tidy up of the area, and I'll sit next to some nice natural light, so I've got some light coming through, just to make the area more attractive, more pleasing to the eye, so that I can relax. And because I'm relaxed, because I'm not stressed, then my mind can begin to feel more creative, and that genuinely really helps me. Even if you're not particularly bothered by mess, just have a go at decluttering your workspace and just see if that helps with your creativity, because I'm sure that it will. So while we're on the subject of tidying up, we need to make sure that we not only have a clean desk, but a clean desktop. Get rid of anything that you don't need on that desktop. So many times I see screens and there's just files everywhere. Just cut back, go minimal, only have the things that you need there. If you're on the internet, just don't have all these browsers open. Again, it's just things that it's just messy and it's distracting, and the less distracted you are and the cleaner your workspace, the cleaner and more minimal your desktop, then hopefully that means a more creative day for you. Hey guys, if you're finding this video valuable, then please consider hitting the thumbs up button and subscribing and hitting the notification button as well. That would really mean a lot. Thank you.
So once you declutter your space, it's time for the next step, which means do your homework, research. A top fashion photographer, Patrick de Machelier, once said that before you start a project, before you start a photo shoot, you need to see at least 1,000 good photos before you create your own. It really says a lot about creative process, that it doesn't really come from within, at least not only from within. Make sure that before you approach your creative process, do a proper research, whether it's visual research, book research, magazine research. Have a look what's been done in that particular subject, get inspired, look through your favorite artists, your role models. And just like I said before, don't limit yourself to only one source of inspiration, you know. Pinterest is a fantastic way to look for beautiful visual content, but maybe this book about art that's been waiting for you to read it might be actually a really amazing source of inspiration for you. You know, for me, I even sometimes look at different fonts, different typography, all these little like graphical elements that could bring me some kind of a feeling, and it really inspired me for my next step on the creative process before I prepare that photo shoot. Just keep searching and this little spark will come.
Next tip for you to stay creative is to be open-minded. Now, I know a lot of this will depend on your style of working. So for example, as a director myself, I tend to write down a shot list. I'll have a mood board or perhaps a storyboard. And although I have that shot list, I like to be open to ideas on the day. For others, they have this shot list and it's completely regiment and they don't allow any changes for that. And that's fine if that is your way of working. But for me, I find that allowing myself to be open-minded in these situations is beneficial, because sometimes someone else on set might have another idea which I'm willing to at least listen to and take on board that feedback, or I might come up with another idea whilst I'm at that location that's better than what I've got written down. So it's important that you're not, you know, too laid back, because at the end of the day nothing will get done, and you do need to take into account the time restrictions you have on that project. Maybe you do need to be more thorough in your complete set shot list. But yes, by being flexible, by having that open mind, can really allow for some creativity to flourish.
So another way to keep your creative juice flowing is this little exercise that is going to help to stimulate your brain. So I want you to take a piece of paper and pen and think about this project that you have ahead of you. It might be storytelling, it might be a photo shoot, whatever it is creatively. And think about, how would you approach this project if you now moved back in time by 100 years or 1,000 years? How the story would look like back then. Another step is write down how would you approach this project if you were in a completely different place in the world. Maybe if you were on the desert, or in a jungle, or in the mountains, or maybe in a busy city if you were located somewhere quiet. You know, it just, again, a little bit of a like stretch for your brain, and try to just like take this project somewhere completely else. Another step is to think, how would you approach this project if you were a teacher or an employer in that company, or if you were your best friend. You know, the ideas are unlimited. You can just try to put yourself into different shoes and think how the story would look like. So there are just a few examples of what you might write down, but I'm sure that you can come up with your own ideas as well. And that's what it's all about, you know, just bringing some different look, different view, a little bit of a different perspective. You know, even if you don't end up using any of those ideas, even in the slightest, at least you will give your brain a little warm up, and you're going to get your brain into this creative flow. And I'm sure it's going to help to bring these core ideas just out there on a paper.
So my last tip on how you can be creative, although it's a bit of an obvious one, it is to exercise, get outdoors, move your body. We spend so much of our time indoors, staring at screens, being distracted, being stressed, and just by allowing ourselves to get outside and exercise, it takes our minds off that stress, off that anxiety, and we can just have this nice relaxed walk or jog, and you'll be surprised, you know, that's just somewhere where you can decompress all those thoughts. And for me at least, I know that when I've come back from a run or a swim, that's actually when I feel most creative, because my mind, my body has enjoyed that exercise, and it's just naturally, I'll be stuck for ideas, sat at my computer, and I'll go out for a run and I'll come back and I'll have ideas. So it clearly puts your brain in a good state to be more creative. So as content creators, it's really important that we can stay on the top of our game and stay creative. So I hope that these can resonate with you.
So thanks for watching, guys. We hope you liked it, and see you in the next video.
Bye.